All right, so Todd is ready. And again, we're trying to do a couple different bots that people have done. So Insurify, mostly focused on Messenger, right? Yep. We'll dive deeper into that. And they have an awesome bot that a lot of great experience that Todd will get into. A startup here in Boston, about 15 people, right, at your company. Yep. Also hiring,
yes,
right?
Exactly. Yep.
I think all three of the speakers here are hiring. So you guys that are interested, definitely reach out to them, especially afterwards. So let's give it up for Todd.
Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Insurify and how we build our bots. Insurify is an insurance comparison platform that's founded here in Boston. We actually launched our chatbot that compares car insurance through Facebook Messenger as an addition to our website, which has already been out there for about a year and a half, 2 years. It actually just launched a couple of days ago, mid-March, and it's the first insurance shopping chatbot in the US. It allows you to compare 100 companies and get recommendations and set up rate alerts to make your shopping experience a little bit easier for insurance. We are a fintech company, but I like to call it a fun tech company because we always try to change things up and think about solving the real user problems in a different way. Before I get into too much detail, I know we talked a lot about, and I want to keep it as a conversation here. We talked a lot about do we build Facebook Messenger, do we build a website, pop-up bubble, and just wanted to talk about why we ended up going with Facebook Messenger as our first chatbot. Gonna touch base on a couple of things. We started the chatbot experience and exploration a while back, actually in 2015, before the hype that Elias mentioned and the trough of sorrow that we're hitting down now with Facebook or chatbots. We really looked at it as a real problem. So I was looking at my phone and the battery usage on my phone, and I ended up checking all the apps that I use all the time is Facebook Messenger, Slack, SMS, iMessage. I was I wonder if other people are running into the same issue and situation, and really found out looking at data and digging at data that this is from business intelligence that messaging actually took over and bypassed social media, which social media was the fastest one growing before. You've probably seen this a million times. I'm just gonna hammer it in there again. Just an example of, and then also I think we've talked a little bit about the millennials, the Gen X's, the Gen Z's. So just a little survey about, again, from business intelligence about who would use a chatbot, who has used it, who is interested in using it. So a little over half of the people now are looking into chatbots. I think Matthias covered some of that as well. There was a hype, and now it's messenger bots are losing steam. I believe that the reason for that is that it was the hype, everybody jumped on the wagon, and it's almost like now you have a hammer, and when you have a hammer, everything else looks like a nail. So let's build chatbots for everything. But you really have to be thinking about, am I really solving a true problem? And then is my service or business based around conversation? Is it something that I want to use? Are my customers going to benefit from something like this? So I wanted to give a little paradigm here of chatbot versus web experience and the different intentions that go with it. So you have to ask yourself what is your business solving, and what are people looking for? So we have what kind of car insurance do I need, for example, or what's the weather, is the way we say with Poncho, what's the weather in Boston tomorrow, versus what kind of black shoes are available. So obviously the intention is I want to browse for something or I need to find something. So the examples are show you the interface, a web interface is much more useful there. Same thing with will Instagram ever build a chatbot? Will there are certain things that maybe will never have a chatbot, or maybe they will. We just don't know yet. But just something to think about. And then always think about as well, like, does your bot require a change of habit or of your existing users, or does it help acquire new users? So you definitely don't want to try to change a habit of your existing users who may be used to interacting with your brand in a certain way, but if it's opening up a door to a new set of users, that's certainly an opportunity, and it's a reason why you should be going into this. And then, again, thinking about, obviously, the bottom line, like, as a business, you always have to think about this, especially in a startup. You have to be lean. You have to be able to make sure that you're able to make money. Like, is this going to make money in the long run, or am I just building it for the fun of it? So I want to talk a little bit about how we built it, how we built our chatbot. And so, and specifically some of the issues that we ran into is, to touch on some of the stuff that we spoke about previously, web forms are really gather a lot of different customer intentions and funnel them and force them into how the web form and website requires you to. Whereas in a conversational experience, in a text message or a message of any sort, the customer can come in with any kind of intention. So I can say, I want, like, show me restaurants in Boston that serves Thai, or show me, I want Thai food for lunch. Like, they could say it in a million different ways. So you have to be able to handle all of that. And for that reason, you actually end up with, a lot of times in the chatbots that haven't worked in the past, you end up with this IVR type of experience where it's, for English, press 1, for Spanish, press 2, and then goes through a flow. And that's not necessarily to say that it's a bad thing. You just have to make sure that that flow works really well, and it's flexible enough. So apparently I live on Command Street, 387 Castle Peak Road in Hong Kong, according to the 1-800-Flowers bot. And then how do you, like, think about how do you handle your validation issues and error messages. It's almost like translating some of these experiences that we're forced to think about it in a web format into how does that work in a conversational space. And for us, it wasn't really, we weren't really trying to replace a web experience because most of insurance is actually still happening on the phone with an agent. We're actually replacing the ultimate conversational experience of talking on the phone. And let's be honest, like, nowadays, nobody even wants to talk to their parents on the phone. You just text them. So why do that with an agent? The other example is we have some gamified experiences on our website, which allows you to see notifications as you unlock new alerts and you go through the onboarding experience. So we wanted to be able to translate that on the chatbot as well in an engaging way without making it feel gimmicky or feel like it's spammy or like looking at like it's not it's looking like it's a human. So I touched on this a little bit earlier. So the smart workflows is that IVR type of experience that's not necessarily IVR, but it does work. So thinking about deriving the intention, figuring out the task that the customer wants to complete, and then triggering a specific workflow based on that. And making sure to handle your typos always is definitely important. Whatever solution you use, just make sure to do that. I want to touch base a little bit more on the discovery and monetization piece. And so word of mouth is definitely huge for chatbots right now. It's the key way of that people learned about us and learned about our bot after we launched. Definitely leverage your existing users there. If you have existing users from an app or a website, definitely leverage them. They're your champions. And then, so with social, I wanted to touch base on that a little bit more. So making sure, like, day of launch, before you launch, making sure that you have your, I know a lot of you are thinking about building and like, make sure that you have some kind of a social component built into the bot itself, so that when you present value to your user, you ask them for a favor. Hey, like, reach out to and make sure to share this with your friends if you like it. That creates this virality piece that's really like plants a seed and allows you to grow further. There are some things that you can experiment with PPC and display for discovery, and obviously blogs and product hunt and best of type of blog posts. A couple of important to-dos that we did and did not do. Not going to say what we have and haven't done there, but definitely set up your tracking, build social hooks within the experience, as I mentioned, and pick your hunter. If you're doing product hunt, pick your hunter, pick somebody who has a lot of followers, and make sure to build the relationship with them early on, nurture the relationship, and make sure, because they have launched, that person will be very important for you. Make sure you always have a way to talk to a human in the bot at any point of time. Here are some of the success metrics and how we measure the success of our bot currently. We did launch the alert for rate alerts for subscriptions. So that's been a very, very important one to track, is how actually are people interested in getting this. And the reason why this is important is you shop for insurance once a year, twice a year, or you get stuff updated, like things update on your profile once or twice a year. You want to be able to know is there a better price for me, but without having to do the work, without having to do a lot more, going on the website again, signing up, logging in, remembering the password. If it's in Facebook Messenger, all of your previous information is there. You don't have to update anything. You have to simply just tell us what's happened, what's new, since you came. Maybe you turned 25, and that means that your insurance is going to go down. So things like that. And then as new companies come on the platform, we also are able to alert you, and you decide how often, once a year, once a month. You decide how, and they alert us of if there's a new company, is there a better price for you? I also wanted to touch on packaging. This is the comparison between Google Glass and Snapchat or Snap Spectacles. I think you can clearly see the difference there. I think it's important with these new types of experiences and AI, customer adoption is going to be slow. So think about it from the customer's perspective. And again, think about it from the whys, and making sure that you build something that people actually want to use, wear. I also have another example, which is when Amazon Echo Dot came out. This was the promo they had, is like buy 5 and get 1 free. And then currently the website, the product page for Echo Dot says Echo Dot has skills, and there are all the skills, and then it's good for any room. But it's I use Echo Dot now, and I have one at home, and I started moving it from room to room, and I found out, I actually use it in different ways when it's in the bedroom versus when it's in the living room. And so why not have a packaging or like a package for Echo Dot that's actually talks about, here are the apps that you have for the bedroom. So you have an alarm, and you have white noise music, and here's the package for Echo Dot for the kitchen, and it comes with the recipes, and it comes. So think about it like as the end-to-end experience of putting together your bot, whether it's voice or text, putting it together in a way that makes it meaningful to the user. Not so much about what your bot does or what your AI does, but what users could do with it. So with that, I'm gonna finish up. I know we're running late on time, so thank you very much. If you could do me a favor, if you like Insurify, please help us out. Just a plug there, and my info is there. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot. I actually have one quick question, Todd. So how much of your business goes through Messenger versus other channels?
Currently, it's entirely word of mouth, and we just launched it. We want to build that and grow it into a substantial part of the business.
Yeah, but is it right now? It's most people come through your website, I would imagine.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
Is it like a small percentage compared to the website right now?
Yes. Yes, it's fairly small at the moment.
Okay. Any questions for Todd? Yeah.
So you have the ability to tap into the Facebook Messenger API, and they've opened up their API. They're opening more and more features with every release. They just rolled out their 1.4 feature version, which opens up a couple more functionality features. But essentially, they give you libraries where you could see how it connects with PHP or Python. So they give you a starter kit. So you could start with that if you're interested in building a bot.
And are you using WIT or API.ai or anything like that, or you're just going directly from your system to Messenger?
It's directly homegrown insurance AI based.
And are you storing the message histories locally as well for your own analysis?
Yes. And also that's also happening. I didn't mention before, but on our website we have chat experience as well, and so we are also storing information there. So that helps us with building the NLP and the deep learning afterwards.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
So in your offerings at this point, do you offer any call to action for the visitors, such as a recommendation for a insurance package or portfolio?
Yes. Yeah. So there's a recommendation based on your profile, and it goes over what you've put in, and it allows you to. Let me just go back to that part. In here is an example of it where it shows you the recommendation package that's selected. It explains it a little bit more. We use visual cards to make insurance language a little bit more simple, and because part of our product is also education. It's not just the utility, but for people who are not familiar with insurance, being able to tell them why we're recommending this. I mean, a high percentage, I would say about 80% of our users don't necessarily know what 100K, 300,000 liability coverage means, so we want to make sure that we can educate them a little bit better.
Yeah, a follow-on question. That is basically, do you actually build a profile of the visitor to see whether a particular recommendation fits aligns with their interest or
Yes. And so they actually have the ability to customize. So one of the quick replies there is actually to customize, which allows them to drill deeper into and seeing how the prices change based on the package that they select.
Have you done any experiments with bots that self-identify as bots versus bots that pretend to be or introduce a human?
So we actually started with the experience of we're gonna have a human pretend that it's an agent or a bot that's pretending that it's an agent, and it sounds like a human, and we just realized that it's just a different experience, especially with the quick replies. They know that it's a bot. The other thing I'm gonna say is definitely decided to stay away from using female names and for anybody who's using it, I definitely recommend just staying away from female names for bots because you have Siri, Alexa, Cortana, all female names. It just at some point it just sounds like you're calling somebody's female name to do something for you. So definitely the examples of M and Facebook Messenger M and some more non-human, non-gender specific names is definitely a recommendation of mine.
Yeah, and actually we spent a lot of time on your question at my company on at first trying to pretend like you're a human. And I suppose if you were really, really good at it, maybe you could entertain that after a lot of data and a lot of experience. But my impression is that, or experience from this, is that people tell very quickly. And it's a better user experience if you're very clear up front of hey, I'm a robot, I'm here to help, and something along those lines, which seems similar to what you guys are doing. And then they're much more lenient in understanding that it's not going to be perfect and everything like that. Better user experience.
Chatbot came up, and I was basically trying to see how they handled support. And my first question they asked was, "Are you a robot?" And I assume you guys have the answer to that. I'm sure it's asked all the time.
Yep. Yep.
And this was actually, I knew that. He was using a fake name because we're trying to look cool. But
Yeah.
It's that's a persona. It's actually, so the personas on our website are human. They're just presenting as one generic user on the chatbot. Yes.
Any other questions, guys? Oh, sorry.
Hi. So, bit of a technical question. Before you can recommend, you're already capturing information like name and email and stuff. Some of which is very easy to verify, like email or address. But some can be too far, like name, not necessarily going to be a misspelling, it can be anything. And some people can say it in different ways. Not that it's probably not very, likely, but still, you can say my name is, or they call me, whatever. And so, just the strings that they're giving to pick up. How do you guys solve that problem?
So the good thing with the name was that Facebook does provide some of the fields of the user. So one of the fields is a name. So fortunately, we didn't have to solve that problem. And generally, as things come up, we'll just build it ourselves in the backend of how to parse that string.
Cool. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks to all
so
of our
much.
speakers. Let's give them a round of applause again. All right, next month, April, across the street at HubSpot. I expect to see you guys all there. Have a great night.